Hello and welcome to Las Blancas Podcast.
I'm your host Yash Thakur, and we are back with another episode of Las Blancas. This time it's probably going to be a rant episode because we are going to be discussing Real Madrid's game against Barcelona, the El Clasico, which was just after a big 7-0 win against FC Twente in the Champions League. And boy, that was not a good performance. And we'll break it down for you. Probably more than breaking down, we will try to not break down on the pod ourselves. And yeah, to do all of that, as always, I've got Kanita with me. Kanita, a day has passed. What? How are you feeling after that game?
I just needed to calm down for he hopes to not break down the pod. But yeah, another therapy pod, guys. It's been a long time coming, and it's usually the classicals, right? So yeah, listen, guys, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see that I'm wearing my Real Madrid jersey. Listen, listen, just because I love my club does not mean I have to like them all the time. Just like when they lose against Barcelona. So yeah, guys, I still love you, and guys and girls of this club. I just don't have to like you sometimes. And yeah, it's you know fourth kind of humiliation in a row against Barcelona. It's annoying. We still haven't scored against them, and yeah, one interesting episode this will be.
As soon as the lineups came out, we both knew that this was going to be a shit show. Like, there is no better way to sort of put this, but as soon as the lineups came out, you sent me the lineups, and I tried to look at the positive side. I was hoping that it would be sort of a counter-attacking setup with Naomi Feller after her good game, after good performances, starting along with Alba Redondo, who we have both discussed how she is a big threat with her runs. I was hoping that with Caroline Weir behind them in a sort of a diamond setup in midfield, but it wasn't the case. And this was the same sort of setup that we had against Chelsea, I think. Or was it Chelsea?
Yeah,
Yeah, so the same sort of setup that did not work against them, and we only managed to create chances after Linda came on in this game. So, but a setup that failed before was brought into picture once again against our toughest opponent in the league, one of the best sides in Europe, the defending European champions, like whatever you want to call them, a team that has upgraded their striker position with Eva Payor, has one of the best wingers in the world with Caroline Graham Hansen, and we are still so many games deep into the season trying to figure out what our best 11 is. So I don't know what the plan, if there was a plan to say in the first place, but just share your thoughts on what did you make when you first saw the team sheet, and then we'll obviously get into how it all turned out and why it was the wrong decision. But yeah, go ahead.
yeah, I remember when I sent you the lineup, you were like, oh yeah, transitions. Yeah, yeah, we're not going to do that. I thought, yeah, sure. But I saw it for midfielders. I got reminded of the Chelsea game, as you mentioned, and there was one more game which where we did this. It's against Sporting. Yeah, we won that game, but it was a really bad game, and we did it against Chelsea, and for some reason we did it in another big game. I mean, for what reason I don't know. But there was one very interesting thing. We stuck with the same defense, guys, from the last time. This is the first time this has happened. Okay, it's not like it helps us much. Gonna lie, But just fun fact, yeah, the center backs were still rotated in sides, and they went very very badly as well. But usually, since the beginning of the season, we've rotated both one center back and the right back. Each game we've rotated two positions out of four in defense, and now he didn't help us either. But yeah,
I mean, those rotations showed what they have done to the team in this game, like especially. And you have a center back that you play as the right center back for most of the games, and in this game you switch her to play as the left center back, which is again an absolutely ridiculous decision, to be honest. And I don't understand. Like, we changed the formation. We usually go with a 4-2-3-1. We went with a more of a 4-4-2 with Weir and Redondo up top, and the white players being Philippa Angeldahl and Naomi Feller. Okay, now let me just get this straight. Okay, like, we are a squad that has Atenea, Naomi Feller, we have Eva Navarro, right? And we have Linda Caicedo. We have four wingers, out and out wingers, and one of them is unavailable. Okay, Atenea is unavailable. Naomi Feller is starting. You have two wingers to choose from to play that wide role, right? Two proper wingers, and you make a decision. You have to pick a player to play on that left wing spot, because you want to, for some reason, you want to go with a 4-4-2 sort of formation, and you go with a midfielder that plays on the right hand side in general in most of her career to play as the left winger. Now, if that is not incompetency on a coach's part, I don't know what is. Like, that is the most stupidest decision I've ever seen play. I don't know what he was expecting out of that. We are not going to get more control by pushing Angeldor on the left hand side, and we frankly did nothing until Linda Caicedo came on. We absolutely did nothing on the ball. I'll just quickly read you guys the stats, the overall stats from the game. We had 28% possession. 28% possession against Barcelona 72. Our passing accuracy was 72%. Barcelona attempted 800 passes against us. 800 passes. We had 6 shots, 2 on target. They had 20 shots, 9 on target, right? And it is absolutely ridiculous, the shit show that we witnessed, especially in the first half. We had no idea. And before we could even realize that there was a, I mean, you could realize it right from the time the team sheet came on, but till the time the manager realized that there was a mistake, it was already too fucking late. Like, the game was already gone. We were already 3-0 down before we could realize, oh, this is not working. And it's not a surprise that it hasn't worked. You are basically putting a midfielder out on the left flank where she's not supposed to be. What do you make of that decision? Like, as soon as the game started, we conceded, what, within what, first 5 minutes?
4 minutes,
Yeah,
four.
and we considered another one inside, like, what, 10-20 minutes. I don't even remember, because it was so bad. That game was so bad. I want to erase it off my memory. This along with the game, the Copa de la Reina final. Like, these two games are purely down to team selection. We had a striker who was working really well. In that final, we chose to not play her. A striker that has consistently performed at the big level against clutch opponents, against like bigger opponents. She does something, and she manages to get touches in the box. She manages to create some ruckus in the box. We did not play her. This game, you have two wingers. Eva Navarro and Linda Caicedo on the bench for you, both available, both fit, both capable of playing. You choose to play Angeldahl. Like, I don't know, like add something. Otherwise, it's just going to be a monologue of my rant. I'll let you speak on that decision as well. What did you make of that?
Listen, it was a bit suspicious. So in the Twente game, yeah, we won that. I think 7-0, but there was some foreshadowing there. So in the two halves we've seen against Twente, we saw that Angeldahl played on different sides, one on one side and the second half on the other side. I can't remember which half on which side, but I was thinking, like, after having watched the classic, obviously, maybe this was foreshadowing. Maybe he was experimenting for Barcelona against Twente. Like, yes, it sounds nuts, but he's very much capable of that because I know that he also said in like that interview for Real Madrid TV or whatever before Clasica. Yeah, we scored a lot of goals against Twente. We're full of confidence. 7 goals against Twente will not help you, man. They won't help you. I don't know what he thought. Like, oh, they gave us confidence, a false hope, confidence, and ever win 7-0 again. Then I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Uh, First of all, I thought that he would have put at least Angela on the right side. We've seen her play like wide, like we mentioned in the two games there on the right side. Wasn't good, but at least I was on the right side. Now, the left side, we had two wingers on the bench. We had so many options. We had another striker, that Bruno, who will help more. Who knows how to go back. Who knows how when to go in. It just I don't understand any of it. Why he did this? I don't know. It's just crazy when you look at the bench and the lineup he put up, the formation he put up. Like, you will see, like, even in like the pre-match, when the players are going out on the pitch, and Liga F showing the formations and all, they're all showing 4-3-3, and I'm saying, like, this is not 4-3-3. This is, I've seen this before. It's the range, the 4-4-2. Like, it's crazy, and it's a foul. It's literally a false 4-4-2. We don't know how to play that. We wasn't supposed to be a 4-4-2. It was not supposed to be with these players either. I mean, why? I don't know. The Twente lineup was perfectly fine. We discussed this in the pod for Twente. It's just we were really concerned about what he would do for El Clasico, right? Like, how many changes? I think it was three changes right now. By the way, this is record breaking. Three changes. We didn't have less than four whole season. So the Twente lineup was fine. It's not illegal to put the same lineup twice in two games. Like, will someone tell
Yeah,
you that?
yeah, I think that is what he thinks. I think it's not allowed to. He thinks that it's not allowed to field the same lineup in two consecutive games. Like, brother, it is allowed. Please try it someday. Like, you are picking out a lineup out of your heads every single game. Like, it's not going to work, and it clearly showed in this game. I have not been this frustrated with a game, I think, since that Copa de la Reina final, because that was an absolute absolute howler from the manager. And this one was even bigger because, you know see, I'm not saying, once again, I'm not saying we have to beat Barcelona today, right? I'm not saying that. But comparing this performance against the ones that, his first classico in the Champions League, I think it was, and he managed to play a really good game. And thinking about it now, looking back, there were moments where we played out of Barca's press, where we were able to create chances, we were able to manufacture chances for ourselves, and we were able to restrict them as well. initial couple of Clásicos, looking back at it now, I don't think Toril has anything to do with it. I honestly don't think he has any role in those Clásicos. It was what the previous manager tried to do, and I'm not giving Aznar any credit. Aznar was this tactical genius, but at least he had a semblance of what he wanted to do. He wanted his wingers wide. He wanted them to put in crosses. Toril has done nothing. You don't know what his side wants to do. You have no idea. We still do, this season we are 14 games in, and we still can't predict what our best 11 is. We still can't predict what we are going to play next against. We are playing against FC 20 next. Yes, right.
Hmm.
We don't know. We don't know what we are going to field. We are 14 games in now. 14, 15 games in now. It's not a joke anymore. Like you get 5 6 games, you experiment, you try to find your best 11, and once you found it, you only make changes if they are absolutely necessary. Barcelona don't go about and change their lineup every single game. They have Kira Walsh. They have made Kira Walsh sit on the bench. They have made Ingrid Engen, who was one of the best centre backs in the league last season, sit on the bench because they know that their best centre back pairing right now is Irene Paredes and Mapi Leon. Like, dude, you don't, just because you have the players at your disposal does not mean that you have to share minutes amongst them. Somebody will have to lose minutes. That is fine. That is what happens when you try to build a squad. He has to understand this, and this is getting incredibly frustrating now. I mean, I'm genuinely pissed. Like, I don't get worked up around about a football game that much, but this is absolutely frustrating. You have a Mm, I'll get to that. Let's talk about the striker situation. All right, we began the season when we spoke about, our signings and how we are going to shape up. We mentioned that how Redondo and Bruno are two different sort of strikers, right? And they are different. And we had this discussion in the first 3 4 games. We were like, okay, who is the better choice? Who seems like the better choice? Because Bruno was scoring goals, Redondo was not scoring goals. So is Redondo not the perfect fit? And we both came to the conclusion that it is better probably for Redondo and the team to be coming off the bench when it's against tired legs. She can run and she can score goals, gain that confidence, and maybe help us in some games where we want to rest Bruno, right? And Brune should be the first choice because she offers a lot more, and she is basically somebody who can thrive off of others creating the chances for her. And it's perfect. In this game, if you started Redondo, defend deep and try to run with the ball, right? You're not defending deep. You don't have any of the ball. Like, whenever you get the ball, you don't have the options to pass because players don't have any synergy on the pitch. And if you do want to go direct from goal kicks, you don't have an option. You have there were instances where we wanted to play direct, and it was Caroline Weir who was our outlet up front. Caroline Weir does not have the hold up play. That is not what she is supposed to be doing. Like, what the hell is going on at this club? Like, if this was 2 3 years ago when we did not have, we were still a squad that was we were building a squad where we were trying to close the gap to Barcelona, and the gap still exists. That's fine. But with the signings that we have made this season, with the depth that we have added, with the players, the quality of players that we have, I think the gap has to show some signs of closing down. It seems to have widened. Like, I'll let you speak now, because I think if I don't, I'll just keep on going and keep on ranting about this game. But what is going on? Like, this seems like worse than what his first Clasico looked like. This team has somehow gotten worse in terms of tactical approach.
You know what? Um, it's very funny when you talked about the first few Clásicos in that season. In the first season, he came because he came mid-season, and yeah, and he still had the rest of Asnar's staff there. Like he was the main coach and the rest there. So when you said like he doesn't probably doesn't have anything to do with it, you're probably right. Here's a few interesting numbers from that exact season. So listen, that was 3 seasons ago. We had free transfer windows from since that season ended. So free transfer windows, free. I don't know how many changes. At least 15 changes in the squad. Completely different squad. Quality. It's too big to even measure right now. And the Clásicos. Okay, so he managed all those Clásicos that season. We had, I think, five or six that season. We played them in Champions League, in Super Cup, obviously in the league. And I, I the first Clásico was his third game. So, by the way, first Clásico was his first third game, and we all thought, okay, let's see how he does. And it was like one game was, I don't know, against whom, and the second game was against Villarreal, and we won. But third game, Clásico, we did well, 3-1. We lost 3-1 on the Stefano. That was, by the way, uh, the last time we scored in the league against them, December 2021. Okay, it was Aslani, and it was a cross from Lucia Rodriguez. Okay, a cross on the far post to Aslani, and we scored for 3-1. It was game of two different halves. The second half was really good. That's when we scored that one goal after being 3-0 down in halftime. And then we did those two Champions League games, also very good ones, and especially the Stefano game, like that was amazing. Like you mentioned that the press, how we dealt with that game, like for me that was our best Clasico that we did, and I don't know, and Super Cup game as well that season, 1-0. We lost 1-0 in 91st minute, and we thought, okay, we're starting to close the gap. But after that season, we haven't seen improvement, well, like at all. Like uh we went to extra time in Super Cup in 2023, January 2023, with the weird free kick. That was the last time we scored against them, so almost 2 years from that. And since then we had humiliations, four humiliations back to back. We're still here now at 4-0, and we can't not just listen. Sevilla this season lost 1-0. Sevilla. I just have to bring it up. Real Sociedad 3-1. They scored against them at least. I have to bring that up. That statement from Toril last season. We are the team with the second biggest budget, so we are the second best team. Brother, Sevilla lost 1-0 against them. What are you going to say now? And he said the other day, literally the other day, during the El Clasico week, said, oh yeah, the games against Barcelona are not a measure of this team's quality. You won 0 out of 3 big games this season. The Madrid derby, draw, and losses against Chelsea and Barcelona. 3 big games. One, neither of them. I don't know what do you measure this team's quality by game against I don't know, newly ascended Espanyol, against Betis. What do you against 27-0? Is that the quality that you're measuring this team by? I don't know what you want. What he wants from this. Like, yes, the strikers thing. It has always it's always chaos when it comes to the striker position with him. So when we have too many strikers, and by the way, this season we have four. Carla, don't forget Carla Camacho. So 4 strikers, okay, and he still doesn't know anything. So he has two main strikers, and he doesn't know when to use them. You know, you have Bruno, you have Redondo, and he uses them very badly, timing is very bad. Okay, he had. I don't know how he thought that Redondo was the one for this match. We can't go directly into them. We have to have someone receiving balls. Okay, we have to have someone in the box to receive crosses. Okay, to receive. You can't have Redondo with the ball trying to carry it through the best defense in Europe. You can't try to do that. I don't understand why is that even on his mind? It just I've been trying, guys. It's been 3 years with Toril, and he's had what freaking renewals. He's had renewals in these 3 years, and every time I say I give up on trying to understand him. This happens. I get pissed off. Okay, I get pissed off because I genuinely it doesn't make sense to try to understand him anymore. The squad management this season, what he's done with the team is the exact opposite of what he has been doing this whole time. We've talked and ranted and all that about the hierarchy, us losing the Champions League in the group stages because of his hierarchy. He does the exact opposite here. The extreme, like there are two extremes of the hierarchy. Yeah, there's a group of players I don't want to play, and then now in this season, just everyone has to play. Everyone has to play game by game. Five, like I think we're averaging like 4 point something changes like between the games. Why? You build nothing. Build zero synergy. No.
And that really showed that zero synergy was really on the show in that game, because our press sucked. We were trying to press. Redondo and Weir did not know where and who to press and how to press and when to press. They had no clue. Angeldahl had no clue where to position herself. Like, she was coming so narrow at times. She was playing right behind the front two. It was abysmal. We had nobody on the left flank to give to as an outlet to receive the ball. Olga would receive the ball and Angeldal would be inside in the midfield alongside Tere and Leopolds. It made zero sense what we were trying to do. We had no idea what we were trying to do. And for all the bad talk, I don't think our defense did any badly. They were good in their individual duels. It was just that we had no idea who to pick. They had so much free space. Like, Aitan, we were leaving Aitana free to receive between the lines. Nobody was picking her up because nobody knew whose task that was. Nobody knew which area to defend. Your right center back is playing as the left center back in this game. Your midfielder is playing as the left winger in this game. You cannot expect them to position themselves correctly in a game where the opposition is known for their interpositional play. Like, those players keeps moving in and out, or you have to build. You got 14 games before you got 13 games before you face Barcelona. You can 13 games is more 13 games is more than enough. 13 games on the men's side is one third of of a league season. One third. Right, like, that is enough. That is more than enough to imprint some sort of tactical idea in the team. And I'm pretty sure against 20 we are going to see a rotated lineup once again. We are going to see Brune in the starting lineup. It's like, you have two starting quality striker. One is a better fit because it has shown time and time again, but you still keep experimenting with that. And I'm pretty sure we are going to lose against Chelsea as well, because Chelsea, like, I saw them the other day against Manchester City, and Sonia Bompastor, same amount of time, no proper preseason either, right? Their primary striker out with ACL, not available, right? Sam Kerr, not available. A couple of players just coming back from injury, and look at them. They have not lost a game, and they have looked like a tactically astute side. Center back done the ACL, but I know that they'll manage. They'll manage because they have a plan, and we won't, because we don't even know what how to spell plan, to be honest, at this point. And it is very very frustrating, dude. Like tuning into a Madrid game, tuning into a game that of your team. You want them to be doing good, you want them to be performing well. You have got the signings now. You expect the manager to make the most of it, right? You expect you expect him to pitch out a better 11, pitch out some better tactics, to be able to showcase, because this game is watched by every neutral in the world, right? Like no matter what you say, this game holds value. You can keep beating Betis by 5 goals, does not matter, but this game is actually the true, like the real show of quality, of real show of improvement. This is what this team is about. We want to win the big games. You're not going to win trophies by not winning the big games, not putting out your best foot, putting out the best display. And Barcelona this season have been conceding goals. Like it is no secret to anybody, they are not like a really airtight defense. They are leaking goals. They have had those problems as well. But we had one shot in the first half, and another, I think, five shots in the second half. We had just one shot in the first half, and I don't know, like it was the worst performance I think we have ever had. And this is coming with a squad that is miles better than what we ever had under Toril. We have better center backs, we have better right back, we have better midfield, we have better attacking options, we have better everything from top to bottom. This is a better squad, like there is no doubt about it. And yet we are playing the worst football that we have ever played under him. Like this is on the manager, this is not on anybody else, this is not on the players, this is on the manager. Like, let's talk about the second half. And I think second half, like 50% of the improvement were only because Barcelona took the foot off the pedal. They were already 3-0 up, and they did not seem interested in and we say it was 3-0 up in the first half. If Aitana wanted to, she could have made it 5-0 in the first half. I don't know what was going through her head. Maybe she did not want to inflict more pain, but she had an open goal, she did not score for some reason. She had multiple opportunities, 1v1s. She could have scored. Like on 9 out of 10 days she scores those. So I don't know. Anything you want to add, or should we talk about the second half changes that actually made us look slightly better, or do you want to add anything about the first half?
I've been reading comments and all that, and basically people saying who was the worst of the game, blah, blah, blah. And guys, listen, you're putting too much focus in individuals. The entire team was lost. Okay, like you said, they didn't know what to do. Like when you look at the defense, they didn't do badly, like individually. But listen, here's the thing. Tere comes to my mind because she's getting bombarded by, oh, it's her fault. And the guys, it's Tere's fault. It's this whole thing what happened. But listen, Tere, first of all, uh, Tere was constantly trying to figure out who to mark. Okay. So she would like most of the time like be okay marking Alexia, but then there's no one on Aitana, and then Aitana, and then she's like in between their Barcelona's midfield, and then she was also in the last line of defense many times, like in just pinpoint any minute in the first half we will see her in the last line of defense. Even in that goal, like I think the third goal, that she with Olga was there in the box. Only her and Olga at first. So she was the last line of defense there. She was covering a lot because of this, also because of the switch with the sides with the center backs. The two, the Lacra and Mendes, a bit. So Lacra had to like cover a bit. You would see her going to the right to cover the side because they wouldn't have this like communication, or I don't know what they didn't have. I don't understand because you see individually they weren't bad, but then you see in between each other they don't know what to do, they don't know how to communicate. It's like they all speak like alien languages, you know, just the completely different, not a word of I don't know what happened there, because you will see Lacra going to the right a lot, very very wide right to cover on the right side, and then Mendes would stay like I don't know what to do here. Tere would have to cover there as well when Lacra goes there to cover the other side. I don't understand what was happening there. I mean, it was a lot, like any minute in the first half, just any minute pinpoint, and you will see one of these things that I mentioned happening. It's crazy. It's oversaturated by the things that don't make sense, basically.
It is true. Like there is no absolutely I ha- there is no clue. I don't know what to say about that. I think even this team would probably perform better without a managerial instruction at this point than with it, because I don't think whatever managerial instructions are going through to the players is working at all. So might as well try a game without any at this point. I it cannot, it can literally not go worse. I think these players are not bad. These players perform really well with their international side. These players perform really well on an individual level, but as a team we are just probably the worst team. We are probably the worst team, like worst tactical team in the entire Europe. Like I don't know, like with this budget, with these sort of players, we are not supposed to be playing this bad, or like with this poor of an organization that we have. It's absolutely horrible what happened in the second half. We saw some more impetus on attack with the introduction of Senior Brune, Linda Caicedo, and Sandy Toletti. I think with Sandy Toletti, we had that crisp one touch passing in the midfield now, which was needed. We needed to be quicker on the ball in the midfield because Barcelona were pressing us really, really high up, and we struggled against Twente as well when they were pressing us high in the first half in that game. We really struggled to build out from the back. So we needed some form of that spark, that one touch passing in the midfield to sort of help us with that. With Toletti, we sort of had that. There were a couple of sequences where she positioned herself really well to receive the ball from the fullback and play it out to the wide player, and then move forward to receive it. And there were a couple of instances like that with Linda Caicedo. I think you know we have spoken about this. Linda is the sort of player that thrives in these big games. She loves to play against these tough opponents. She loves to go at the fullback, and this is not just with the club. This is with the national team as well. She likes to take that initiative. She wants to be the centerpiece of whatever is going on in the attack, and that was evident. She received the ball, she was running with the ball, she was taking on players, she was beating them. She was able to hold the ball in the attacking third for other players to arrive, and she was able to generate shots with it as well. I think this is a player that has to be mainstay in your lineup. This is the sort of player that you build around. She alongside it's her alongside Caroline Weir. These two players should be like indispensable for the squad at this point. Like these are two players that have to play every single game if they are available, unless you want to rotate one game and give them some rest, and because they have played a lot, these two players have to be in every single lineup. And we have to have consistency with that, because only and only then will be able to see how these inter interplayer connections or the thing we call synergy between players develop. You have to let that, give it time, and this way you're not doing anything, like no chance. Like you just have one winger injured, you have the other three available, and you still decide to not go with the two options that you had on the bench. It's very annoying. But yeah, what did you make of those changes, and how did you think they helped us improve? I know like the part of the reason is also because Barcelona were 3-0 up. It was game state and they were just not interested in attacking us for the remainder of the game, so they took a step back and then let us have the ball a lot more in the second half, and they allowed us to do our thing. But yeah, what did you make of the changes? Those three changes in particular I think were quite good, but also I have a complaint about the changes as well, which I'll get to. But yeah, you go on.
Yeah, I know exactly what changed to complain about. But yeah, and you said like it's Linda and Weir are the players you build around. And listen, it's for a reason. Like as soon as Linda came on, she took matters into her own hands. As you said, she thrived in these games. She when you see the rest of the team being lost between each other. And she's the type of player that can and that will and that does want to take it into her own hands and try to do something. And you saw it immediately when she came on. She just came, she would go around she would near their box by herself a lot. uh she would look for her teammates at the entrance of the box a lot. And immediately when she came on in like the first 5 minutes or something, I saw it like twice, I think, happening. And before that, we hadn't really approach them well at all, like being around their box at all. Like she brought it immediately in there, with Toletti and her crisp passes as well, as you mentioned. It's so good to have Toletti back, by the way. I thought maybe she could start. Maybe it's her second game back. I don't know. But if she was fit enough to start this game, I don't know if she was, but if so, she should have started it, in my opinion. I mean, it shouldn't have been a thought there. But yeah, like you said, maybe this team would go better without the manager. I don't know. But yeah, do introduce us into that great sub that happened in like 70th minute. Yeah.
See, even the part where he brings on the right players on the pitch, it is by replacing players that were actually doing good. Linda came on, and I remember Feller had a really good recovery and a run where it ended with a shot, and everybody was like, "Okay, good. Now Feller is looking more like herself. She is pressing. She is contributing in defense. She is contributing in attack. She is producing that two-way threat." Next minute, she's subbed off. Like you don't even let this team play at its best. It's very annoying. Like you take off Oihane for Shay, and like I don't get it, dude. Like these are basic changes that every single fan with no coaching batches can make. Like they can look at the list of players that they have and probably decide, okay, this is not a change that I want to make, right? This is not the sort of lineup that I want. This is not a team that I want to switch lineups with every single game. Like a fan sitting on his couch like me can can decide that. I don't have any coaching batches. I just watch a lot of women's football, that is all. And even I can make that call. Even you can make that call. Everybody else on Twitter can see it, but not somebody with managerial batches, you say. That is outright incompetency. Like, the whole point, I think, this whole pod boils down to one thing: is it time for Toril to go? Because we are not making any progress. It's 2.5 years under him, and we look worse than his first game. We look worse than his first Clasico. And I think the sooner we make that change, I think we will be happier for it. Because otherwise, if we keep wasting this talent that we have in the squad, number one, yes, we might attract players still, right? Like, Real Madrid is the club that is able to offer players money that a lot of the other clubs might not be able to afford, the magnitude of money we can afford, right? There isn't much in the women's game, so we still have that edge for us now, right? But other than that, we have no appeal. We don't compete for any trophies. we look like we look like a trash side against Barcelona, against any big club. We don't put up big performances. We say our ambition is to win trophies, but we have a manager who is incompetent against when he comes up against big opponents. Like, eh, how is this side? What appeal do we have against against for players that you want them to join you? Like, for players who are very high potential or are big names, there is no chance. Why would a player like Pernil Harder join you unless, like, she is a mad Madrid fan or whatever. Like, even Caroline Weir's decision. Caroline Weir joined us at a point where we were actually gunning for. We looked like we were going to go for trophies in the first season. We did, right? Like, you want this. If we would have won that Copa de la Reina, we would have something to show. Like, okay, see, we have won a trophy, and we want more, right? The only players joining us now are, for Linda, we have discussed this multiple times. This is probably a stepping stone for her. She'll probably move on to new clubs. There will be, at the end of her contract, probably, there will be clubs lining up for her. There will be clubs who are fighting for Champions League lining up for her, and that's fair. That is her level, right? Apart from that, you got Loipols, who was a part of a very successful setup, come into us now. You've got young players. You've got Lacra, you've got Maria Mendez. As soon as their contract comes down to 1 year, there will be clubs lining up for them as well. So unless you love the club a lot, like Olga does, like Misa does, like, maybe, based on the photos that we have seen from Weir's childhood, maybe she does as well. It is very difficult to attract players to play under a manager that seems clueless whenever he's facing a big side, right? So what do you think? Do you think it's time to call curtains on his time at the club? Is it high time now, or do you think he still gets a couple more games or whatever?
Sadly, we're not the ones being asked about making this decision. Sadly, or anyone on Twitter, like, just I wish we were, but no. Um, I just want to mention Eva Payor and Lucy Bronze that are pretty much big Madridistas, and
I would like to differ here. I don't think Eva Paiva was ever a Madridista. I think she was a
yeah.
Ronaldo fan.
Oh, okay, that
And
right.
yeah,
That might be that. Yeah, but I also think there was a rumor. It was a pretty strong one that we actually refused Payor like a year ago or something.
wow.
Yeah, after the in 2023. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, the Tana Rosell said, nah, nah, nah. There was
Yeah,
a pretty big
we don't need.
rumor, continuous one, and yeah, I just wanted to mention this, because last season, yeah, you could also see when when they would beat us. Obviously, they beat us every time. But yeah, they were all jumping, and well, Lucy Brown has always been a Sergio Ramos fan and Madridista as well, but she was the only like one not jumping and stuff. So yeah, basically they're we don't really have this pool players, like you said, just some like really, really, really big Madridistas. Like Weir, I'm very grateful that Weir is such a big Madridista. Thank you, Zidane, for this. Honestly, because it's Zidane we have to thank really for this. I don't know. Listen, people were chanting Toril de Mission on the stands, and I think you know I'm talking to the Real Madrid board. I think it's time to you know listen to those chants. It's There have been so many chants throughout these 3 years almost. Okay, and yeah, I think this one should be really listened to. Sadly, I don't think it's gonna happen. First of all, we're on the road. Sadly, at this point, I have to say sadly that we're on the road to get to qualifying for the quarterfinals of the Champions League. And listen, last season and the season before that, we got eliminated in the group stage early as well. And he wasn't sacked. We lost that final. He wasn't sacked. We were humiliated over and over again. I don't know, Chelsea and Barcelona, and every single time he wasn't sacked. I don't think now. I think right now. I don't. I we have a really low chance of getting him sacked. Solely because of the Champions League. I have to say, sadly, we're on the road to qualifying to the quarterfinals because I can't do it anymore with this guy on the bench. I can't. It's just I want to bleach my eyes. You know. I don't know.
We had 0 points last season in the Champions League group stage. Zero.
One, but zero legal ones.
Yeah, fine. 1 point. We finished bottom in the group, and he wasn't sacked.
Yeah.
We keep losing to Barcelona like this. We keep losing to every. We keep putting out weird lineups that makes no sense against big opponents. I don't know. I think if that is the bar we are setting for ourselves, that it is good enough to just qualify for the
Yeah.
next round, for the knockout rounds. I think that is a problem in itself. Like a club that has the money and is looking to invest in the women's side of the game should also be serious about achieving big things, because investing is one part, but you have to be proactive. You have to make good changes. You have to bring in good people to help you with that, right? Like win something. Like this is not funny anymore. Like okay, fine, like you're competing with Barcelona, you don't get that many opportunities to win trophies. Fine, Barcelona are a different side. They are, but at least put good performances, manage to score against them, push them to their limits. You had an opportunity with Barcelona existing to win a trophy, and you did not. And that fuck up was also once again totally on the manager. Like, let's be real here. Even we could have even won those penalties, but the subs that were made, the penalty choices, the penalty taker choices that were made, that is on the staff and the manager. That is not on the players. You don't give penalties to players who have not taken penalties in their life. That is not how it works, right? Like this manager, his staff has failed multiple times, I think, and this one was a latest addition in a long list of those failures against big sides, especially tactically, especially. We have been aside for what, 4 or 5 years now, and yet we cannot defend set pieces. Under him it's been 3 years. We cannot defend set pieces for the life of us. Y- in this game as well, against Barcelona as well, free headers at the near post where you have multiple players marking, free player on the far post, nobody marking, and it was Angeldahl's player, nobody marking. Like, at some point you have to question where it is coming from, what the basics of this side are, what is this side trying to do under this manager, right? Like, you have to question that. And I think the time to question it is now, because we'll win against 20, no doubt about it. We'll probably win against every single other opponent in the league as well, right? We just have that much sheer quality. The difference comes in where we don't have the edge in terms of player quality against a side. And that difference comes when we play sides like Chelsea, when we play sides like Barcelona, when we play sides like Lyon, right? That is the difference. Pound player for player, Barcelona has the better side. They have more talent. That is completely fine. But easily, player for player, this team, player for player, I'm saying this team is easily the second best squad in the league. We can easily, we should be able to compete with Barcelona. I'm not asking us to thrash them 3-0, 4-0. I know that is not possible. But at least score against them, make the game difficult, challenge them, like go with a 3-5-2. We can do that. We have the players. W- Chelsea has done that, right? Player for player, probably Barcelona is still the better side against them. They went to their home, they put out a sinister-esque 3-5-2 that was so focused on defending, that was really, really direct approach with Sam Kerr up top. They went there with a plan. They succeeded, right? You have the players to do that. Melanie Leopold was a part of that group that went to Barcelona and won. She herself had a brilliant performance because she knew what she had to do. And she knew what area she was monitoring. She knew what role she had in the team. None of our players do that. Barcelona is not this invincible side, right? They can be beaten. Maybe like we still need a couple more changes. We still need a couple more players to be able to beat them comprehensively. But we can absolutely compete. This squad is more than good enough to compete against Barcelona, to make the game interesting. We do none of that. We come out with weird lineups. Next game as well, there is going to be rotation for sure. It's the same story. This game will be put under the rug after 4 or 5 games where we have won all of them. End of story.
No, it will
Until the
be
next.
it will be buried in, like when this international break happens. We have two more games left until the international break, and it's 20 and Real Sociedad. So I just know both of them will, us doing goleadas, and oh yeah, we did well this month. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same story. Then we'll face Chelsea in December and we'll lose against them. That is fine, but it will be like, oh, we finished second in the group. We are now going to the knockouts, and I hope we get the toughest opponent in the knockouts. I hope we do. I hope we get wrecked in those two games so that there is some action on the managerial stuff. And this is not me wishing bad. I want my team to do well, but I know this is not possible with this management anymore. It is just not. I've run out of patience. I've given with this squad. I thought, okay, you give them some time, you give them 5 games, he's still trying to understand the squad. That's fair, absolutely fair. We are 15 games in now. This is not a joke anymore. If you don't have your gala 11, nobody can help you. Like, the gala 11 has almost picked itself from the performances that they have proved. I don't know. I have no words anymore. This will, I if if I'm given a free rein, I'll continue ranting for another hour. I don't think I can stop about it. But yeah, anything you want to add about it, Kanita?
And it's so many thoughts. It's been a while since the game. Between the game and now, and that I have so much in my head and so little at the same time. But I still don't think that it's less than Alberto Toril. Whatever whatever I don't have versus always more than him. But man, I don't. Listen, last season when we got thrashed in the Super Cup, and Giraldes said, we expected some, tactical improvements on their part after losing 5-0 on Montjuic, like maybe a month earlier, and but they brought nothing, and yeah, and I would have just quit immediately there. I was just like, oh yeah, like for the rivals, your biggest rivals, coach, to say that about you, that you absolutely at coaching, that he saw nothing from his rivals, and he was also disappointed. He was disappointed that he saw nothing. He wanted us to do something. No, I would have quit on the spot if that was me there. I would just, yeah, my bad. I will never coach again. I will never step foot in a locker. I will never coach a football team again. I would just retire immediately. Never even watch football again. It's useless. I don't know. I don't know how this keeps happening. I don't know how no one cares about this team enough to sack him in the board. I don't understand this. It comes from the board. They don't give a damn. They don't give a damn. Year after year, I don't see any improvements. The first full season he had in 2022-23, and I said, yeah, listen, he came, in the middle of the season last season, and I saw nothing from him. But I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. He came to save the team. He came to put us into top three, and we did that in the last minutes of the league, and put up a miracle. Sure, yeah, I still said I saw nothing. And okay, let's see next season. Next season, we did dominate a lot. Weir came. That was her first season. We thrashed teams. We all that. However, I know that the entirety of the season we were complaining about the lack of anything in the team. It was just we're bailing us out every single time in that season as well. Our most relaxed season was really, really bland, you know, and we see zero improvements since then. We see improvements in the squad, but no improvements in the gameplay. So what the hell, man?
And the thing is, there are managers available. There are absolutely good managers available, ones that have worked in the women's setup, ones that have achieved in the women's setup. And we are too afraid, or maybe we don't give a damn to change things, right? And that is going to be the end of it, because you know as fans we can complain about it, but at the end of the day, the club has to give a damn. The club has to see that, okay, if this was the men's side, we would have sacked the manager by now. It's a very fair complaint, I think. Back to back failures, no improvement in the squad, not proper usage of the squad. These are grounds for sacking at Real Madrid, and we have to set that standard. There's Casey Stoney available, and I know the general public opinion on Tony Gustafsson is not that great, but I'll be honest, he he has plans, he has ideas, that he wanted to implement with a national side, which is not always possible. You get like 2 week period to train those players. But I think his ideas can be really useful for a side like us to bring that culture. Just bring in Casey Stoney if you want that. You've got good young defenders. She can put in a defensive scheme. We'll at least like we will probably we have the players who are creative enough to create opportunities out of nothing, right? We'll have a solid defense, which is much needed. And then she's somebody who is respected by everyone in the women's community because of what she has done as a player, as a manager. Bring somebody who has worked in the women's setup, who knows the players. I think this has also shown that how important it is to have somebody who has worked in the women's setup before to be coaching your team, right? Because there is an absolute difference. People who have worked in the women's setup do know these players, do know how to use them, do know what the women's game requires, and they act accordingly. This guy has now worked in women's setup for what, 3.5 years, still nothing. And it's very sad, because at the end of the season, if he continues to stay on, we'll probably finish second. And everybody, like the news articles in and everything, the table would say that we were the second best side, but only to people who have watched the games regularly will know that we were nowhere near the second best side in the country as well. So it's very unfortunate, the situation that we are in. And I think it is the board's responsibility to make a change for the better, because this side does need a change now. So yeah, let's see what happens. I think it has been an incredibly frustrating watch against big sides, and I'm pretty sure that is the same is going to continue when we face Chelsea in December. So yeah, hopefully a slightly better performance so that it does not turn out to be a therapy pod. At least we have something to talk about tactically from that game, because I don't like uh, talking about all this stuff, because I don't think we can control any of it. I think what we can talk and break down about is the tactics on the pitch. But sadly, when there's none, this is what we have to probably resort to. So yeah, anything you want to add, Kanita? Any closing thoughts that you want to mention?
It's just, you know, 15 Clásicos in, I just want to say. 15 Clásicos in 4 years, and well, yeah, fifth year. But and this keeps happening. And I don't want us to thrash them. I don't want us to even win regularly. I just want something. Yeah, I just want bit a bit of something. Just a bit of something is fine at this point. I want us to win a big game this season. Like I said, 0 out of 3 won this season. And I don't know. I don't know what's going on with Toril. Why we listen? He's renewed until 2026. So will we sack him at the end of the season? Probably not. But listen. Our objective isn't even to qualify for the quarterfinals of the Champions League. It's to qualify for the Champions League, to come top two. Actually, yeah, they say, oh yeah, we completed our objective of coming top two. Last season, we shouldn't have even top three for the way we were playing the entire season. Very bad. I mean, losing Weir, we were lost. We did like just it just the rest of the league just crumbled and left us in top two for some reason. Like, how dare they even just excuse Toril? The other teams saved Toril's job. I'm not even kidding. I'm not. Sadly, I'm not kidding. Like, last season was abysmal. He did nothing. He's still here. He got renewed. He's still here. It keeps happening. He doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know even his Gala 11 doesn't know anything about his players. So yeah, yeah, I can go on about this. I'm just this can be like a 3 hour long therapy pod full of rants. We didn't even have a plan for this. We just, if Toril doesn't have a plan, we won't have a plan. We will just rant about this game. We will rant about everything. So yeah, we ranted a lot, and there you go.
Yeah, hopefully this has calmed us down a little bit, and hopefully to the listeners as well. When you listen to this, I hope you find some of your frustrations echoed on the pod, because we do feel the same. We are incredibly frustrated with the sort of things that are happening at the club, especially with the way the squad has been managed this season. So yeah, I don't have anything else to add. I'll just want to say to all the listeners that have been listening to us, thank you for listening to us and supporting us. And you guys make it possible. And I just want to remind everyone once again that from next month, some of a part of Las Blancas will be going behind a paywall. So if you want to keep listening to us, if you want to keep supporting us, I would highly recommend you to join Patreon, Managing Madrid's Patreon. It's patreon.com/Managing Madrid. You'll get all the exclusive content. We have had the opportunity to be on the ground as well. Some of the team members have been able to cover the games of live from the ground. So there's a lot of things happening behind the scenes. The content will always be good. We'll try our best to bring you the best insights, to break down the games for you guys, and if that is not possible, to help you guys break down about the game by having these therapy pods occasionally. Hopefully, we don't have much of these, but yeah, we'll try our best to bring you the best content about Real Madrid Femenino as always. So, yeah, if you want to support us and if you want to continue seeing this in your feeds, I would highly recommend to join Patreon, which is once again patreon.com/Managing Madrid. So, thank you for listening, and until next time, a la Madrid.
A la Madrid.